So this lawsuit is making headlines across the world.
Fox 5 Legal, and thank God for Wendy Patrick, because she's here to break down this case. Our jaws were on the floor watching that entire story. How did something like that happen? I mean, that's the obvious question. That's what they want to know. How could that severe of a mistake happen?
That's right,
and that's what they do.
That's the question that's being addressed and is addressed each time this happens. Listen to that. It's not the first time it's happened. Each time. How? There are so many moving parts involved in growing an embryo and implanting an embryo, particularly when you have a clinic with lots of clients. We look different. People look different. Embryos do not. So labeling matters. Let's just say that's the baseline, proper labeling. Now, are we to the point where we can actually tag individual embryos? That's a science that is currently, we're looking into that, let's just say. But we're not there yet in terms of being particularly accurate all of the time, not 100%. So this is a heartbreaking case. Each of them are when we hear about something like this.
So what is this specific lawsuit? What are they asking for?
Well, a lot of times it's monetary compensation, but losing your embryos is priceless. You can't put a price tag on that, which is why you see all of the different causes of action, everything from medical malpractice, negligence. Now, you heard intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, that infers some element of intentionality. These are usually mistakes. It's hard to believe that such can be intentional, although it's not unheard of. We've seen very high-profile cases over the years of what people do in hospitals, but there's no indication that that's the case here. So as lawsuits like this proceed, there's an issue as well. Is it going to settle? Is it going to go to court? What can they actually prove? Was human error to the extent that you can say they breached a duty, in which case it's negligent? Is it malpractice? But right now, we are just getting over really the initial heartbreak. And can you imagine, first of all, when you're going through fertility treatment, you've tried everything. You're at the end of all of the different ways you've tried to conceive naturally. Then you go and you do your research, obviously, anybody who's going to take advantage of one of these clinics. And after you've done that, after you've read all the reviews, interviewed all the doctors, then you entrust yourself to this type of procedure, which again is so complicated, and people going into it have heard of these cases. So it is shocking to us and our viewers, but if you really look enough into the field and talk to enough people, this does happen because humans are fallible and sometimes things are mixed up.
I mean, and it's expensive.
Yes,
very expensive.
Very expensive, which is why the lawsuits are also very expensive.
Exactly. So my thought on this was, not only are you having the lawsuit from the couple that this woman carried through the pregnancy, had the twins, but now you have two babies that are not related. What about their parents, who also paid money to this place to house their embryos? Would that not be another lawsuit? Because now you have a bunch of, it's just these parents that we're hearing about now. What about the parents of those embryos who are now babies? What do they have? I mean, they're not involved in this yet.
They're involved in it emotionally, and that's why you heard one of those causes of action, infliction of emotional distress, whether it's negligent, whether it's intentional. You just can't put a price tag on that when it comes to life and creating life. I mean, we're in the day and age where we can do that and we can implant, but it comes with risk, and this is the kind of level of risk that you just can't put a price tag on. So yes, anybody potentially involved or impacted by the mix-up will likely have a lawsuit. How will those proceed? We'll see.
And I feel, you feel for the mom.
Visceral reaction, absolutely, Chris.
Oh gosh, the emotions that go into it, that she's carrying twins, so her body's going through all the motions.
And where are her embryos? Where are the ones that they implanted?
Exactly.
And to get a sonogram and say, oh, these are two boys, even though you implanted two girls.
Oh my gosh.
We're still not there yet when someone would say, oh, well, we're not really sure what we see. So now that's what they relied on here. Well, maybe they are two girls, but they just look like two boys on the sonogram.
Okay, so then moving forward, if you were a couple that's considering this, then how do you protect yourself from this kind of mix-up, or can you?
Well, one of the things you're going to want to look at first and foremost is the labeling. Obviously, you may have a mistake occurring at any clinic, but how do they label samples? How many layers are they going to go through to ensure that they don't mix up samples because they all look alike? How do they tag them? How many times? And then again, we do have technology progressing that at some point will allow us to actually tag samples themselves.
I mean, I would
Won't
ask
that
how
be great when we can finally make a foolproof way
Right.
of making
Isn't
sure
that
you
something?
implant the right embryos into the right patients?
I was going to ask you how you think this is all going to play out, but this, I mean, based on the fact that this is DNA, I mean, look, this is the wrong child
It's complicated.
that I gave birth.
Yeah,
You're looking, this is
that's
going to be millions and millions and millions of dollars.
for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if the clinic even survives after this.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wendy Patrick, thank you.
The tough case.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Thank you,
I mean,
Wendy.
this is just shocking that this
Well,
would
our
happen.
prayers are certainly with that family.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you can't even, the therapy that they're going to need from this too. All right, Wendy,
sure.
thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.